Hey guys, Matthew here, and this video is going to be very short. I just want to tell you guys about how to go about getting +2 level of gems on your amulets in the upcoming 3.17 Siege of the Atlas and Arch Nemesis League. Right now in the game, if you want a +2 amulet, you need to use two different amulets from two different influences, which both have a +1. Smash them together with Awakener's Orb, and then the rest of the amulet is basically just going to be random. This is basically changing entirely. What's happening is that these amulets are going to be completely deterministically craftable and very, very simple to craft. However, the price is going to depend on the price of harvest augments, as I'm going to explain in a bit. So if the price of harvest augments are somewhat cheap, which they typically are, especially early on in the league, then it should be pretty similar price to the old method of using Awakener's Orb and stuff, because there is no chance of bricking the item, there is no chance of requiring to annul, there's nothing like that. It is completely deterministic, which means you know exactly what you're getting. But of course, if augments are very expensive, then this can get pricey for sure, but again, you only need to do it once. Okay, so let's talk about how you're going to go ahead and do that. There's going to be a link in the description for this method. It's very, very simple stuff. You're just going to go ahead and alteration spam the amulet for the +1 level that you desire, but it needs to be the non-elemental or physical one, right? So it needs to be either Dex, Int, Strength, or all gems. Now, actually, this is something I need to talk about real quick. This is new, I believe. +1 level of all skill gems is not something which is currently available on amulets, I believe. And it is definitely a lot more powerful than, say, +1 level of all intelligence or strength or dexterity. This is probably going to be a very, very rare modifier, but of course, because you're alteration spamming and alterations are typically not too expensive, you can deterministically get this. However, in a solo self-found setting, for example, if you have the augment available but you don't have that many alterations, you might just have to stick with one of the less rare if they happen to be less rare. But anyways, once you have alteration spam for the +1 level that you desire, now alternatively in Tradely, you can go about buying the level that the amulet that you care for, especially with a good prefix. So I would recommend right now, if you want a +2, let's say you want a +1 int, +1 lightning amulet for your build, and you would also want to have high life, I would highly recommend that before the league even starts, you get yourself a life search with the desired +1 with the prefix that you want, which is typically going to be life, wed, or energy shield. Now, once you've got this amulet sniped or you alteration spam for it, you'll want to regal the amulet. Now, if you sniped it, it'll probably already be rare because it'll have two prefixes, right? You can't have two prefixes on a magic item. But if you have alteration spam, you'll want to regal. If you hit a suffix on the regal, you're good. However, if you hit a prefix, you'll want to annul it. Because you will want to have two open prefixes in order to get the best amulet possible. However, if you don't really care, then it's okay if you regal a prefix, or if you regal a good prefix, that's also good. Essentially, you want to have a good prefix or no prefix alongside the +1, because you should care, because obviously augments are not cheap and also very rare. Next, if you have two suffixes on the amulet, so let's just say you snipe an amulet with good life and the required +1 that you care for, but it also have two bad suffixes, that's perfectly fine. You'll just want to craft cannot roll attack modifiers. Now, if you have you regaled your amulet and you hit a suffix, that means that there's two open suffixes. We can't have that, so there's going to be two different options here. If the suffix that you have is something that you actually care about and therefore you don't want to lose it, you don't want to have, let's say it's critical strike multiply, right, or something else that's really good, you will want to craft on, can have up to 3 crafted modifiers and cannot roll attack mods. Now, the goal of the can have up to 3 crafted modifiers is essentially just to lock in a suffix so that you don't have any open suffixes. It's a bit of a waste because it's 2 exalts, which is a shame. But if you don't care for the suffix, let's just say you have like 9 cold resistance on your amulet and you're like, I don't care about that. You can also just craft an aspect. This is going to save you 2 exalt. So if you plan on wiping the suffixes later on with, say, prefixes cannot be changed in a scouring orb, then you can totally go with an aspect and save yourself the 2x, but you will still need the cannot roll attack modifiers. Now, once you have the cannot roll attack modifiers alongside 2 other suffixes, all you have to do is augment the element or physical that you care for, right? So this is very simple. The reason why this works is if you look at prefixes on an amulet right now, there are not very many, and the ones that basically you care for, like +1 to all fire skills or cold or intelligence or something like that, which we know are still going to exist, right? Because we can see here that he has +1 level of all lightning, and we can assume that this is a prefix, just because of the affixes that we see here on this amulet. We can assume that this is going to be added as a prefix, and if you go ahead and say look at lightning prefixes on an amulet, you will see that there is just one, right? Because all the other ones are going to be on influence modifiers. And this is obviously going to be on non-influenced amulet crafting. If your amulet is influenced, you will not be able to use this method, but you would not be able to augment on an influenced item anyways. So anyways, once you have the cannot roll attack mods, this is going to remove the ability to roll this from the pool, and all that's going to be remaining, since you cannot roll suffixes, as your suffixes are full, is going to be the last remaining prefix, which is going to be your all level of all lightning skill gems. This is going to work the same for fire. As you can see, this is going to work the same for cold as well, and it's even going to work for physical. Because there are multiple physical prefixes, but they are all tagged alongside the attack modifier, or the attack affix, sorry, or tag. Therefore, this is also going to work for fizz. So if you're playing a build like Seismic Trap, for example, which requires an amulet of +1 dexterity and +1 physical, well, there you have it. This is going to be very, very easy and deterministic. The price is basically going to be entirely dictated by the price of harvest augments, and if you find your own, well, then even better. So anyways, that's going to be it for the video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this little tech on how to get your +2 amulets. Before I go, though, I want to say a huge thank you to my supporters. So like him, Hamad, Max, Georgie, Rascal, Stan, Brandon, welcome back, Thomas, Nate, the Great Master, Alex, the other Alex, Tim, Mercury, Johnny, Scott, Nailed, Kevin, Killer Kev, Dubstep, the other Alex, Bit is Inks, and Jarek. That'll be it for me, signing out until the next one. Peace.